Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Quantum Leap Futures Morning Leap session for Friday, November the 2nd, 2017. My name is Doug McKay. I am the founder of Quantum Leap Futures. Each morning we get together in these live go-to sessions to take a look at the market, macro to micro, take a look at the structure of the market, and then we drill down to our trade levels, our targets, and our hypotheses for the day. Our hypotheses are our trade plans. We do create multiple trade plans. We do not try to predict what the market's going to do. We create a scenario or trade plan or hypo, wait for the market to open up, and then see who takes control and then execute the plan that best supports the market. And then we adjust our plans from one plan to the other as the context changes within the RTH session. This is a subscription room. If you're interested in checking it out, send me an email at quantumleapfutures@gmail.com. There's no website. There's no blog. I don't do this for commercial gain. We do everything live here in the go-to, and then we do live trading and analysis during the course of the regular trading hours. Please read through the disclaimer. Nobody at Quantum Leap is a certified trading advisor. We are retail traders operating within a self-organized learning environment. Past performance is not indicative of future results. Any trades that you see in Quantum Leap are for education purposes only. Please trade your own due diligence, your own trade plan, your own risk metrics. All right. So let's look at yesterday. Whoops. It's not yesterday. That's disclaimer. Yesterday, our trade plan was an open auction in range, a move down into the 2711 to 2709 area and find buyers, and then continue the auction up and rotate up and just get an upward grind with the upward target being that 27 and a quarter microcomposite VPOC. We got that, and it played out almost within the first couple hours. Then we kind of got stuck in hypo 5, which was basically an inside day until we finally got the breakout and the push up into the 41. Remember that our hypo 3 target was up here in the 46s. 43 to 46s, and we didn't quite get there. So kind of hypo 1 transition to hypo 2, very, very boring trading, just going back and forth, no real edge for most of the afternoon, and then we just drift up into to the close, finally get the breakout, and then we come back and we close just above the prior day range high. In the Globex, we opened up and we basically, traded inside of the RTH session until we got, to where Trump had put out news that he was going to have the cabinet put together a proposal, a trade deal for China. And that's what gave us the spike up, and we spike up and we go up, and where do we go? We go and hit that 2760 area, and then we just, that's that naked VPOC that was up there, and we just go sideways the rest of the day. So we had a bit of a P-shaped profile in the RTH session yesterday, bit of a P-shaped profile in the Globex session. We have this big LVN here at the 2750 down to the range high from the prior day. So watch that 50. That's going to be our over underline today. If we get below it, we could quickly close the gap and come down and test the 41 and a quarter high from the prior day. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's take a look at first. Let's take a look at earnings. Again, about 60% of earnings, I think, is now complete at the end of this week. Don't got any results yet. Just going to do a data download here, see if we get, okay, so we don't have any results yet for the pre-market, so we just have to wait for those to come in. Sometimes they're a little late updating this. There's not a lot of big names, today that I think could really move the market. Lowe's, retail, What else we got? Race, Ferrari, Diamond. There's not a lot of big ones. Pre-market and then aftermarket, which is Friday, which isn't really going to be a big deal because of the fact that it is Friday and most people aren't going to try to trade the ETH session on a Friday. But we've got bookings, Marriott, Occidental Petroleum, and a few more. So nothing really, really big in terms of the earnings for us to pay attention to. Going to the calendar, of course, the non-farm payroll came out better than expected. Manufacturing payrolls came out better than expected. Private non-farm came out better than expected. Trade balance came out worse than expected. The rest of the news was pretty much decent. Didn't get a lot of movement. It was pretty. A bit of a snoozer. But the scene of the crime was 2756.75 for NFP. Moving forward, 33 minutes. We've got Canadian exports, imports, and balance. Trade balance. 48 minutes, we've got ISM business conditions. Then at 10 o'clock, we've got cap goods shipped, factory orders. And then at 1 o'clock, we've got the Baker Hughes rig count coming up at that point in time. So not a lot of news, but there is a press briefing at 10:15 Eastern time, so just after RB3 forms. And that's a briefing that Pompano is going to be giving about sanctions on Iran. So that could move crude and that could move the ES. Taking a look at the macro, every morning I do the same exercise. I start with a simple candlestick chart. I start on a monthly. I use a 9 EMA and a 20 SMA in terms of moving averages. And what I'm looking for is where are we in terms of the trend? Do we have good slope and separation? Is the strength of the trend strong? Is price paralleling the 9 nicely? Or are we challenging the 9 and challenging the trend? Or are we breaking below the 9 in the 20 or above, depending on which way the trend is, and getting a possible trend change? You can see very strong trend up, and then this month, not this month, October was a very negative month, gave back most of the gains through the course of the year, and we came down, tested the 20 SMA, and we bounced, and we're right now struggling to get back above the 9 EMA and get the continuation of the trend on the bigger picture. And we want to watch that 2765 area to confirm a breakout and a continuation of the trend up on the monthly. On the weekly, a little bit different story. We see some a trend change. We are coming back up to test the 9. The 9 is going to be tested up here at the 2809. So, we're in a downward trend until we get back up into the 2800s on the weekly. On the daily, we had a pretty good trend down. We were failing to get above the 9 and the 20. We had good slope and separation to the downside. And then in the last few days, the 3 days, we've taken it back, and now we're trying to get above the 20 and get the trend change from a downward trend back to the upward trend, and watch that 2750. As I mentioned, is going to be our over-under. Going to the intraday, on the 4-hour, you can see that we do have a upward trend again. So we had the strong trend down. They found the buyers. FUBAR, Mr. Sneaky, technical gap. Then we get the move above the 9 and the 20. And now we're getting slope and separation to the upside. And got a good trend going on the 4-hour. Going to the 30-minute. We were trending up nicely overnight, and then we broke below the 9. We tested below the 20, and right now we're at a decision point, and we're in what I call an MA squeeze between the 9 and the 20. And this is, undetermined direction on the trend. So we don't know if it's going to create a downward trend or if it's going to bounce and get back up and get the continuation up. So we'll have to wait and see how that plays out. We are going to gap up. So, we did break out of the balance we were in yesterday afternoon. We break up, we come into this former balance around this naked VPOC at the 2760 area. And, we're chopping around in this area. This still remains naked in the RTH session, even though we went there in the Globex, because it has to be tested in the RTH session for it to be taken out as not being naked. As I mentioned earlier, our NFP non-farm payroll scene of the crime is at 2756.75. If we open up right here, our gap is going to be 2756.75, and our close was 2738.05. So our half gap fill is going to be 2747.50 area. And again, that is has to be adjusted as we move 2747.50. That'll have to be adjusted coming into the open, depending on where we open. But half gap fill. Okay, so we're going to open outside of range. Inventory overnight is, I would say, about 80% net positive. And we have heavier than normal volume. Again, you can see that we've had OTF participation, so the volatility continues, and we've got 419,000. That's 4 times the amount of the regular Globex volume. So we've got net long and time and price on heavy volume. So, we could get a gap and go day. But I'm watching this area right here, which is the low volume node, to see if that actually changes. In terms of hypotheses, it's going to be very similar. Again, Hypo 1 and Hypo 2 are going to be equally weighted, but we are gapping up. So I'm looking for responsive selling. I'm looking for a move down towards this 2750, and I'm looking for them to reject this 2750 and continue the auction up into the 60 and a quarter. Our overnight high is 66 and a quarter. And I'm looking for that to get taken out and to move up into this prior VPOC at 2772 and a quarter on Hypo 1. Equally weighted is a open auction out of range. Hypo 2, move up into the 2760 and a quarter. Failure to take out the 2766 and a quarter, and a rotation down to come down and close this gap. Test down into the prior day range, but then find buyers and just chop in yesterday's or just above yesterday's range and accept value higher. That is Hypo 2. Hypo 3 is a gap and go, an open test drive. Buyers take control early, move us up into the 2772, and then we get continuation up into the 2780 area. We have a average true range right now on the daily of 59.39. So we have range capabilities off of the overnight low to get up into the 82 and a quarter, and then off of the overnight high of 66 and a quarter, our downside daily ATR is down at the 2706.75. Weekly open is 2667. We have 1 day left, so 2667 plus the one session average true range gives us a weekly critical mass up here at the value area low, the mid, and the IB high from yesterday in the 25.75, 26 area, and that's right around that microcomposite VPOC. So if we come into the afternoon, with the above this range, we could get capitulation and see a drift up in the indices. Hypo 4 is a take back day, open auction out of range, failure to take out the overnight high, find sellers, rotate us down into the prior day range, and then fail and push down and come back down into the 2710 to 2715 area and close down here. So those are my four main hypotheses for ES. Going over to the gold chart, we came down and we tested down to that 14 level and held, and we bounced up and we came back up into value, pushed through to the value area high, and so far they've found some resistance. But this move up back into balance tells me that we're likely to accept this 1230 132 area and then get the continuation up and finally get the breakout above the 1245. So key levels to pay attention to don't change. Watch for the break of value above the 37. If we can get there, look for a move to 45. Anything above 45, we start looking for the next leg up. And that is going to be a target up here in the 60 to 65 level. If we do not hold the 32, look for them to come down and see if they hold the 25.26. And if we don't hold the 25.26, likely come back down again. And like I said, if we come back down here again, it's not likely going to hold. We're likely going to push through and come back down to the 1202 level. That's going to complete our pre-market session. As always, trade well, trade safe, and we'll catch you on the flip side.